Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am behind schedule once again. But that's okay. I've got a ton to show you, and I wanted to start with two clips from everybody's best friend BitBoy. Listen up.
You know, we saw that in the last run. USDC coin will get knocked back out of the top 10 as well. So you're really looking at it having to pass Dogecoin, XRP, and Binance Coin. Like, that's pretty much it. And I also don't think it's going to pass XRP, because I think XRP is going to be much higher than where it is right now. So XRP is going to have a Solana type run because of that suppression.
You're darn right it is. Now, check this out. This is from FudFit and sent me this video. This is Raoul Pal, who is a ex-Goldman Sachs guy, but he's a really smart guy. Listen to what he says. He's being interviewed by BitBoy. I think BitBoy's interviewing him. Gotta refresh that. Here we go.
But XRP is there is quite a lot of use cases. What's interesting about XRP is there is quite a lot of use cases. Now, I know a bunch of Bitcoin people hate it. It's not decentralized enough. I don't care. It's, are people using it? Yes, a lot more than most people realize. And what's amazing about this setup is you can't buy it on any of the exchanges. And it's not in the Bitwise ETF. The Bitwise ETF is now the Bitwise index is, the top 10 index is $1 billion. So the moment XRP is freed, they have to buy a few $100 million of it, as everybody else can, because the exchanges will have it back. So you're setting up for a hell of a nice run if this clears up.
A hell of a nice run. Yep. Now, I found another smoking. I don't know how many guns need to be smoking before this case is over, but I'm going to keep finding smoking guns. Watch this. So, the CBOE is regulated by the SEC. The fact that this quote came from the CBO president 4 days after the Hinman speech proves this was the SEC's position and not Hinman's opinion. This is the quote. We have been contemplating future. This is June 18th, 2018, 4 days after the speech. We've been contemplating futures on Ethereum for some time, CBO's president told Forbes. The SEC statement clears a path for launching a future on Ether. Okay? CBOE president said that. The CBO, this is from the wiki for the CBOE. CBOE is regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission and owned by CBOE Global Markets. So if they're regulated by the SEC and the president of their organization is out 4 days after the speech saying that Hinman's speech clears the way for us to have Ether futures, then guess what, folks? Why didn't the SEC go to the president and say, you can't say something like that? That was just Hinman's opinion. They didn't say that, did they? All right. I wanted to bring this to your attention. This was says a new episode of DEI Discussions is now live. This is Cindy Young, who is with Ripple now, and she did a podcast. I have not listened to it yet. There's too much going on today like this. Harry at Geraldo XRP sent me this. I was asking this morning about this speech that was given by Joseph Lubin, or not a speech, but he was at a conference in Hong Kong, and it was July the 9th, 2018. Well, this Geraldo guy sent it to me, and I clipped out the part that I liked. So let me refresh this, and I want to first show you my takeaway. This is the thing. It was July 9th, month after Bill Hinman's Ethereum free pass speech. 2 takeaways. Call me crazy, but Joe Lubin sure does sound familiar with that speech. Who saw that speech before it was given? And then 2, he thinks regs are clear after Hinman. And then I like this comment right here. Ethereum Foundation and Hinman's old law firm wrote the speech. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm just reading for you what this guy said. Okay? Listen to the speech.
Director Bill.
Listen to this clip.
Director Bill Hinman of the SEC a few weeks ago said some very interesting things about consumer utility tokens. He said that if you construct a consumer utility token properly and if you market it properly, then it would not be considered a security. And so that presents, and they really did, with these words, define or recognize that there may be a whole new model for delivering services and products to consumers, a networked business model that's held together by these tokens that enables what we call incentivized mechanism design. So you define a set of goals for your system and rules for your system, and selfish behavior of different actors in different roles on the system accomplishes the goals of the system. And so you can have lots of different actors in different roles, and none of them are dominating this particular niche that offers services.
We would like to see regulation sooner, because I think the fallout will just make it more difficult and tainted later on when maybe it didn't have to.
But I do think we have regulation. I think in the United States we have the Howey test, and we have this new notion that a network can be sufficiently decentralized so that it's maybe not a security or not a security anymore. But
he almost, if I didn't know better, he almost sounds like Bill Hinman's speech was the guidance that we needed to go forward.
Maybe in the U.S., but not here in Asia.
Sure.
We have not seen the differentiation like in the U.S. And the industry in the U.S. in some regards is more developed from what I would say the SEC at least coming out and commenting and being more involved in the education piece.
Now, so that's that. And then today they had the conference, and more or less Ripple's attorneys won the day, and Judge Netburn said that the SEC is going to have to show some of these, my understanding is the SEC is going to have to show some of this internal information on Ethereum and some of the things that were going around. And the gist of it from what I heard was that the judge was saying basically, well, if you guys weren't sure about what XRP was behind the scenes, then how could Brad Garlinghouse or Chris Larson or Ripple be sure about what XRP was? Crypto Law, this is John Deaton's law firm, says Netburn will order an in-camera review of SEC documents sought by Ripple. She orders the documents with a public letter brief without a lot of redactions from the SEC, responses from the other sides, and will rule on them. She adds that her ruling should indicate to the SEC whether other DPP, which is something privilege, anyway, assertions were or were not proper that were maybe other documents it should produce. Netburn and the parties agreed to an exchange of letter brief responses by September 28th and asked for minimal redactions from the SEC in the letter motion, and she will rule as quickly as possible. And then he says, summary of the hearing. The SEC Gov failed thoroughly and completely in asserting blanket privilege on the documents it has repeatedly been ordered to produce. Judge Netburn will proceed ruling on the DPP assertion on each document sometime shortly after September 28th. Now, you know how I always say there are no coincidences? That ruling happened, and right after that ruling, Brad Garlinghouse tweeted out this. This has been clear from the start. The SEC's lawsuit isn't just about Ripple. It's about what impossible standards of fair notice and due process through regulation by enforcement can do to crypto innovation. Anyone could be next without warning. And he's retweeting Rosalind Layton's Forbes article about the crypto uprising and how all of you out there and me have been putting out information, and that's what's important. Then he follows it. At least one learning I'll take from this experience. Never bet against the tenacity and thoroughness of Twitter sleuths. That's you and me, folks. And listen, a lot of you haven't thought about this, but this would be the first time probably in the history of the world that social media, through truth-telling, not through doing anything other than showing their own words, video, not We're doing the jobs of the media. I told the media this morning they ought to turn in their media cards and they ought to not be able to look their children in the face because of how shameful what they're doing is, what they're doing to not just this country, but to this world by not telling the truth to their audiences. And if you're suppressing the truth and you're not showing everything and what these people are doing and saying, if you're not showing everything, it's not any better than lying, folks. It's suppressing the truth. And that's what the mainstream financial media has been doing. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. I called out their names this morning. Go back and listen to my other video if you want to hear them. But don't worry, I'll be calling them out more often because it's shameful and it's disgusting, and it's not what a free country and a media in a free country that the media is supposed to hold the people's power accountable, and they're not doing their freaking job and haven't been for quite a while, and it makes me mad. Okay, but back to my point here. Brad Garlinghouse tweets this out right after the one thing that we all know that the SEC has been kicking and screaming about not doing, and that is showing those behind those Ethereum information, the things that were being talked about within the SEC. I don't believe they ever have any intention of showing them. Now, if they never have any intention of showing them and the judge has just ordered them to show them, what does that mean? Well, it might mean that you have to settle this thing. But I'm no attorney, so we shall see. Now, as long as Brad Garlinghouse is commending us all on the tenacity and thoroughness of Twitter sleuths, I did some Twitter sleuthery this afternoon. So this is Brian Brooks. Now, I want to make sure you understand. Brian Brooks was not, my understanding is that he was not at Coinbase as their chief legal officer when they listed XRP. I don't think he was. But the point of this video, the reason I want you to watch it, is because this is how Coinbase, probably one or two largest crypto exchanges in the world, they've been going to the SEC. They've been going to them to try to get guidance before adding anything. But listen to what they get when they do it.
And then what we started doing was, as we would list new assets, we would talk to our principal regulators, mainly the New York financial services people and the SEC. And what we would do before we listed a token is we would walk in with our scorecard. And we said, hey, great news. We have this new tool out there, which is kind of cutting edge. This is how we're thinking about it. And, we got some feedback. And it wasn't like an endorsement. No government person said this, we blessed this. Mm-hmm. But what the reaction we did get was, okay, we like that you have a way of thinking about it, that you're not just listing any old thing, right? Process is everything if you're the government.
But there's a pattern here, folks, and the pattern will be complete in your mind when you watch the next video that I'm about to show you. But the pattern is that the SEC is intentionally being vague so that they can go after companies. In other words, we have a government entity that Congress is supposed, by the way, Congress as well as the media is supposed to be overseeing to keep this kind of stuff from being done. But what they're doing is they're intentionally being vague so that they can hold their hands up and say, oh, well, we didn't say that was okay, so now we're going to come after you. That's what they're doing. I'm about to show you something from a former SEC person that was at the SEC who tells you that's what they're doing and names Hinman by name. Go figure. Now, so this is my question. How in the world can Ripple have fair notice that they are dealing with a security when the SEC can't even give a straight answer to the largest crypto exchange on the planet when they are listing XRP or when they're thinking about it or any other digital asset? Okay? Now listen to this. This right here is powerful, and let me show you why. September 12th, 2019, Juan Suarez, he was the chief, I think he was like their deputy general counsel. He was the guy before Brian Brooks got there. I think he was the guy that was there when XRP was listed. He's sitting beside this Nancy Wodas, former counsel to the chairman of the commission at the SEC. She's an attorney now with a law firm. But she was at the SEC for years. So this isn't just what she's about to say after he says something. This is not just some jackleg. This is a woman who's there and talked to Hinman. Didn't just talk to Hinman, but talked to Valerie Sapenic. These are the people that are supposed to be helping these people when they go to them. Listen to what he says and then what she says.
probably change the space.
I actually have a quick follow-up question to that, which is what sort of obligation do you think regulators like the SEC have to us, to the ecosystem, to maybe draw brighter lines around some of this stuff? I think I heard you say that you think we benefited from some of the lack of clarity. I don't know that I see things quite that way. I think maybe some people did, others may not have.
I mean, you guys have done okay. You've built a pretty good business.
It's not great, but there's also, there's a great deal of frustration, I think, in our space around, well, when is a thing a security? And you rightfully point out it's intensely facts and circumstances, and it's not like you can, go and pick up the phone and be like, well, what do you think about this one? And if it's A, I'll go this way, and if it's B, I'll go that way. Just tell me. I honestly don't care. Just tell me what the right answer is. At what point does the regulator have to, kind of affirmatively start to bring clarity to questions like that?
Well,
let me answer his question before she answers it. Here's the point that the SEC has to actually give a rule, make some actual clarity. That's when the traditional financial news media begins to hold them accountable along with Congress. That's when they're going to do their freaking job, is when they're held accountable, but nobody's holding them accountable. That's when the job's going to be done. Right now, social media is having to do the media's job and Congress's job.
I was a former regulator at the SEC.
Sure, yeah.
There is no obligation.
Right.
What they've done is they are creating regulation by enforcement. And the speech from Hinman, which said, come to us and talk to us. Well, you know what? We had this conversation with the new crypto czar at the SEC, Valerie, and there's a panic. Thank you. I can never say her name. And so I asked her, I said, do you plan on issuing any policy guidelines for us? I said, we can't be regulated by speeches and isolated enforcement actions. And she responded, she said, well, I'm not so sure you want the guideposts at this point, picking up on Adam's point. But maybe isolated issues, like custody of crypto, but we really want the technologists to come to us with a solution. We can't develop that. And I said, but you've stopped innovation here. I said, I don't know how many entrepreneurs that I've told go offshore. It's too hard in the US. I'm telling you, it's just too hard.
Okay. Want to remind everybody, let me pull this up. If you don't, this market, I have this, my spidey senses are going off about this market. My spidey senses are also going off about how this judge ruled today. I have this feeling that the SEC does not have any intention of ever showing those behind the scenes Ethereum documents. I can't prove it, but I have this feeling that this isn't going to happen. I could be wrong. It's purely a feeling, and I'm no attorney. I don't know anything about all this stuff. What I do know is my gut screams at me occasionally. Now, why do I say all that? And what does that have to do with pure VPN? That is, this market at some point is going to explode, especially if there's a settlement in this SEC lawsuit. And when it does, the bad guys come out of the woodwork. So you better have a virtual private network and an antivirus software on your computer, because they will target you. Right now, they've got 2 years of pure VPN for $245 a month. I have a virtual private network myself. It's the way you need to proceed. I've got the link. I'm going to put the link to this in the very top of the description of this video. So click that and you can go and get a virtual private network if you don't have one already. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that a VPN applies to all of you out there, not just one person. Anybody who's getting on the internet, buying crypto with an internet connection, you need to have one.